Umang lawande ilay ke oboding ramai galis ina osa onaping kare haut puang keyo kami nyajak penyarungai pangjuat padonsian.
Have you ever walked inside the 140 million years old rainforest? You can hear clearly the sounds of the gibbon like this. And also the sounds of the hornbill, which calls you like this. You can smell the forest and feel the fresh water beneath your feet. That's a paradise where I live. That's Kalimantan, the part of the Borneo that belongs to Indonesia. Do you like dance? Have you ever seen a unique dance like this where you put 1 kg of the bracelet on both of your hands? That's a traditional dance of my tribe, the Dayak dance, which called dadas. So, dancers usually wear a beautiful costumes and also beautiful crown made from coconut leaves and sometimes decorated with the bird feathers. And there is a singing like this. Erang hila aku manyiangan lengan. Imagine you wake up in the morning and there is a coffee and traditional cake made with love by the lady of the house. You can feel the kindness and the warmth of the people that welcome you in their village. You don't need to worry about what you are going to eat every day because there will be people that will give you fruits, fish, and vegetables. That's the experience that you will have when you meet my people, the Dayak people, the first people of the land. I have been always a proud Dayak, but not before my 17th birthday. As a common young teenager who was struggling and trying to find many ways that I fit, I had to deal with the most what indigenous people should face: discrimination, misconception, and stigma. I still remember those old days when I was in high school. Whenever I start to talk in my mother tongue, saying greetings like, "Oi, selamat kayat duari, inun habar naon arawina?" And then the other students would say to me, "Your alien language start to intervene." And you know, this such a thing, I continue to experience that till I grew up as an adult. For example, whenever I get in the taxi in a big city like Jakarta, and then the driver will start the conversation, they will ask, "Where do you come from?" And then when they heard me that I come from Kalimantan, they will ask this kind of question. Is it true your people still eat human flesh? And is it true that your people still wear bark skin as the clothes? Of course, the blame should not be fully on me. In this modern age, we always classify people into the frame that we already prepared, both in society and in our own mind. We tend to think the people that live in the city are well educated and those who live in the villages are less educated. And you know, we believe that people who wear fancy clothes and then carrying branded bags are rich people. And those who wear maybe bark skin as a clothes and also carrying the traditional wave basket as the poor people. We believe that someone who holds the electronic stuff like this as the modern one, and maybe someone who wrapped the traditional swords like mandau around his waist as the primitive one. It is real that most people in the world think that the modernism and custom traditions are the opposite to each other. And people often don't believe when I say I am a Dayak because I wear jeans, dye my hair, and put some makeup on my face. And there is a belief that the indigenous person should stay in the forest forever. That's a big misconception of the definitions of indigenous people and the traditional way of life. And yes, that first 17 years of my life was wasted. I always wonder why I have to be born in Kalimantan as an indigenous Dayak girl.
Miss Emmanuela, can you please come up on stage and inspire us? Let's put our hands together for Emmanuela.
All the excellencies and distinguished guests from all across the world. My name is Emmanuela Shinta, a woman from Dayak Mayan tribe.
With the expansions of modern technology, standing your ground as an indigenous become more and more challenging. Many works are done in indigenous communities territorial under the name of development. And 15 years ago, there was no phone signal in my village. So if you wanted to send a message to someone, you needed to climb the tree and trying to find the signal like this. But nowadays, with the technology, you can live in the most remote area and still able to contact people. In reality, young people are more interested in checking their Instagram status rather than sitting on a wooden chair, listen to the folk stories from their grandma. I was scared, and I was afraid of the future. What if one day we are forgotten? What if one day people no more recognize us? The modern technology considered as a poison that drifts us away from who we are and where we are from. My imagination gets worse when our presidents announced that we are now in the season of Industrial Revolution 4.0, and those who are not able to adapt will not survive. Crazy things keep happening around me and my community. More violations on the indigenous rights. More palm oil, mining, and logging expansion. More trees being cut down, and more rivers being polluted. More forest fires, more flood, more displacement, and more conflicts. It's hard to be a proud Dayak when the world seems against you and your people. All these things suffocated me and made me feel hopeless. Yet I realize my biggest mistake is not in questioning life, but in ignoring it. After years of struggling, I finally learned that we cannot ever change the reality, but we can change the way how we associate with that. Modern technology can never replace an indigenous wisdom, but it can be used as a tool to enhance our fight in defending our rights, protecting the natures, and preserving the culture. That's how my journey began. Cheers!
Pernyataan dari
I started making films, and together with my team, we record the stories from the indigenous people. We document every single traditional and sustainable way of the Dayak living system. And we also record and capture the wisdoms and the teachings from our elders about life, about nature, and use it to educate not only young people in our community, but also people outside Kalimantan. And we bring the voices from the ground up to the surface to advocate for the policy making of the land management. Camera, laptop, and internet have become my new routines. In a simple way, I will say, we make use of our knowledge and skills that we obtain from schools and the exposure to modern life to protect what we have to protect. And that's the very moment when the narratives start to change for us. Until now, we are still doing the work and making impact. And I'm so happy that the world start to recognize Borneo. And I'm so grateful that people around the globe start to pay attention to their consumption after they watch our videos about environmental disaster that caused by the companies. And I'm also so excited seeing little children, they learn about their mother tongue and listen to the wisdom of the elders while watching YouTube. And I'm in total awe seeing young people are not ashamed of their identity anymore. They are proudly say, I am a Dayak. And I often laugh whenever I hear someone say like, poor me, I never know that Kalimantan and Dayak people have such beautiful cultures. And it's really satisfying to hear all of these things. But the most important thing is this. What you think against you may be actually for you. And your opposition actually can be your friend. The indigenous cultures are never being overcome by the modern technology. Instead, it is being enhanced when being used by the right hands, in the right way, and the right moment. This is our meeting point, the indigenous and non-indigenous. Those who were born with the privilege and without privilege. You and me. Because the true winner is not the one who overthrows the enemy, but the one who accepts, embrace, and despite all the differences, commit to work together and work together toward the victory. Thank you.